Hello, welcome to a Web of Stories. My name is Melinda, and just under the wire, I am here. I'm sorry. I am here with my February book haul. Books happened. Yeah, I got a big stack right here of books that came in. You know how last month my TBR count went down? That's not going to happen this month. But anyway, let's get started. So I'm going to start with the 3 books that are not going to add to my TBR. The first one is Cosmic Scholar by John Szwed. I got this on audio from Libro, and I listened to it for the booktube prize. Not going to talk about it other than to say I did listen to it, but because I did it within the same month, it doesn't count on my booktube, on my TBR. The next one is, because if you know, you know. Just saying. So because this was already on my TBR, this does not add to my TBR. Oh boy, where am I going to put these? Okay. We'll just make another big pile right here. And then finally, oops, I did it again. I didn't check my spreadsheet before I bought a book because I had an e-arc of this. I didn't realize that till after this was in my hot little hands. So this was already on my TBR, so it doesn't add to my TBR. This book I am going to take with me the end of March to Arizona. Specifically, I chose this book for it because it is set in Tucson. I did not silence my computer, sorry. It was set in Tucson, and my father lives outside of Tucson, so I thought it would be fun to read a book, local book, while I was down there. All the rest are going on my TBR. So, and all of these, by the way, came from bookshop.org, and they are in the order that they came into my house. So, first I have Divine Might, Goddesses in Greek Myth by Natalie Haynes. I'm actually going to be starting this one pretty soon. I'm still reading my History of Rome in 100 Lives book, so when I finish that, I'll start this one. And yeah, I know goddesses aren't really history, but it's still kind of history, so I'm going to count it for Historathon. So this one. I am excited to read this one. It's just been there looking at me. And then this one I got for part of my the Bard Room, my Shakespeare project. And I found out about this book from Maria Andrea at Books and Bocadillos. And this is That Way Madness Lies. This is a short story collection, an anthology of YA retellings of Shakespeare's works. So it obviously doesn't have all of Shakespeare's works. It does not have The Merry Wives of Windsor, which is this month's book, but it does have The Winter's Tale, which I'm really interested to see how that one turns out, because that is a messed up play. So what it has is The Tempest, Twelfth Night, Taming of the Shrew, Midsummer Night's Dream, As You Like It, Much Ado About Nothing, The Merchant of Venice, Sonnet 147, Romeo and Juliet, Julius Caesar, Coriolanus, King Lear, Hamlet, Macbeth, and The Winter's Tale. So I'm going to use this as long as going on with my Shakespeare project. And because of that, I guess I'm just going to not log this in as being read, as being currently reading until I finish it. Then I'll mark it as read, because who knows how long it's going to take me to get through this if I'm reading it as the plays come up. So, okay. Then I have Medea by Eilish Quin. It's retelling of Medea. Looked good. Got it. Oh, so next one. You know how I said I like horror, and horror doesn't really scare me except for Stephen King, and then that's too scary. Well, I decided to tiptoe back into Stephen King horror, and to do it in short story collection. So I got Nightmares and Dreamscapes. This is not a short story collection, but so it is quite massive, and it has quite a few stories in it, which is good. So it's going to take me a while once I get to it. And these stories look a little longer than a lot of stories, so this one's going to be, I think what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to this and start it later in the year. I'll use this to backfill once I finish my best of 2023 collections. I have 2 of those. I'm a little over halfway done with one, and then I'll do the other one, and then I will use this as a replacement. So that will be coming later in the year. Okay. Then we had the Women's Prize for Nonfiction long list, and I could not help myself. I had to get 2 books off it, although neither of them I'm going to read before the shortlist is announced or even before the prize is awarded. I'm actually holding on to these for Historathon for when they fit into the Historathon category. So the first one is All That She Carried by Tiya Miles. I actually have a novel by Tiya Miles up on my shelf. This was actually released earlier in the United States, so it's been out for a while. It's already won the National Book Award. So that is good. Oh, and it has pictures. I'm all about having pictures. So, yeah, this is a history. There's a bag or something that goes through the family's generations. Looking forward to it. And the next one, oh my goodness, I'm so looking forward to the next one. And the next one I will be starting, I think this is Q3. I'll have to double check that. Next one's Q2, and I'm so excited. Young Queens. It's 3 Renaissance women and the price of, I think it's next. No, this is also Q3. I don't know. I think this might be next. No, I think it's a time after that. I don't know. Because we're 500 to 1500, and I think they're right after 1500. So it's Q3. Anyway, super excited about this. It is Catherine de Medici, Elizabeth de Valois, and Mary Queen of Scots. This is going to be a really interesting. I'm so looking forward to this one. But I'm holding on to it until the appropriate time. Okay, and then continuing on with the Bard Room, our play for March is Henry IV Part 1. And while I was at it, I decided to just add Henry IV Part 2. So when I draw this one, I already have the play. And then I have Maggie O'Farrell, After You'd Gone. This is a novel. The only book of hers I have read so far is Hamnet, although I do have The Marriage Portrait. I am, and a couple other ones, but I just decided to add this to it. There's a is there a Maggie O'Farrell book in there? No, there is not. I just like Maggie O'Farrell. There's a Hilary Mantel book with my booktube prize stuff. So I do have some Hilary Mantel, including this next one, which is a memoir, Giving Up the Ghost. So Hilary Mantel, when she was younger, had a health issue, led to her not being able to have children. And I believe that's what this is about. So here we go. Now, this next one, I'm actually really excited about. I had no clue that this book existed. So I think I've mentioned before that Sarah at Roadworthy and I are kind of doing a thing where we're reading through Pacific North. We're doing each quarter, we're reading a book by a Pacific Northwest Indigenous author, which has proven to be harder than you think. My area, a lot of the indigenous peoples were killed off by disease before the colonists ever got here. So there aren't that many. I mean, there are people, indigenous people in my area. There just aren't as many. And so when there aren't as many, there's less books. So I couldn't find anything written by an indigenous author in my area until one day I was just poking around and I found the Multnomah County Library's Best Books of 2023. And I found this book, Tribal Histories of the Willamette Valley by David G. Lewis. David G. Lewis is an enrolled member of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, which is covers this area. And the Willamette Valley, so Oregon geography, you have the Willamette River that runs pretty much north-south, kind of up I-5, so it goes into Portland, and it tees with the Columbia River. I live in the Tualatin River Valley, which is like another little river off to the side, but I grew up in the Willamette River Valley. I had to cross the Willamette River to go to high school. And one year, I was just talking to my father about this recently. One year, it was between when I graduated from college and then when I went to go work in Boston. So that year, and I was living at home earning money. My parents had gone on a trip, and while they were gone, we had an ice storm. And then the ice melted super quickly, and the Willamette River flooded in Salem. Actually, it flooded from just south of Portland down. Portland, it just barely didn't flood. It almost got there, but in Salem, it did flood. And I could see the Willamette River if I went down. We lived on a hill. If I went down and I looked down at the end of the street. So I'm really interested in reading this one. It's not very long. It does look a little textbooky, but it has super high ratings of the 17 ratings on Goodreads. And I am just really interested. I am interested in local history, and So totally excited about this one. And finally, I have The Assassination of Margaret Thatcher, Stories by Hilary Mantel. So there's more Hilary Mantel. Yeah, I'm excited. I'll add this to my ever-growing short story collection. And I'll get to it when I get to it. As I said, I usually have an anthology, an Agatha Christie short story collection, and then a short story collection by another author. At some point, I'm going to run out of Agatha Christie short story collections. So that's fine. When we get there, we'll get there. But this one will be added to the short story collections by author. There's a bunch ahead of it. Right now I'm reading Jeanette Winterson. I have a couple Claire Keegan's and some other authors to go through before that, but I am excited about this. I don't know when I'm going to get to this one. I don't really follow what book I choose. That's very mood ready-ish. Like when it comes time for me to choose a new one, I just sort of look in whatever I feel like reading. So these are the books. I'm going to move them over here so they don't topple on my head because I have a little bit more I want to talk about. So I decided to do what a lot of people on booktube do. Sorry, I have to get to my other tab here. And that's doing a book haul revisit. Now, I decided to do this last March. And you know how when you start something, you're really gung-ho and you're really good? So my book haul last year for March was 6 books. So it's not worth me doing a separate video for it. So I'm going to tag it onto this video. For the April book, I'll do a separate, trust me, there's enough in the April one. I'll do a separate video. But just this one time, I'm going to tag this March one into February. Next year, there'll probably be enough for its own video, but we'll see. So let me go through the books that I bought in March of 2023 and what happened with them. So I did buy 6. I did not think well enough about getting the one print I still have. So I'll have to put a picture up. So the first one I got was The World Book of Racist Stories by Amber Ruffin and Lacey Lamar. This is the follow-up to You'll Never Believe What Happened to Lacey. I got this as an audiobook through Libro. And I have listened to it. It's good. And so, yeah, I read that one. And then the next one I got was Enchantment, Awakening Wonder in an Anxious Age by Katherine May. I really loved Wintering by Katherine May and her other, I can't remember, the one that came before that. Loved both those books. I was really, really excited about this book. And then I got it and I heard nothing but bad reviews about it. So I did unhaul this one. So it's gone. Yeah. That's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. Okay, so the next one I just gave my copy away. So I did unhaul it, but I did read it first. And that's Lone Women by Victor Laval. I actually really enjoyed this. The only reason why it wasn't a keeper book for me is I thought it would be a book that my family down in Salem would really enjoy. So I gave it to them. But I loved it. That was book of the month. That was my book of the month selection for that month. Okay, and then we have the first of 2 books that I have not read yet. And this is The Plover by Brian Doyle. So this is the follow-up to Mink River. And I'm not going to tell you what it's about because it would spoil Mink River. Spoil at least a part of Mink River. Mink River isn't a book that, as you know, Mink River is my all-time favorite book. Mink River isn't really a book that, spoilers so much. I mean, it's not like a mystery or anything, but there is one little storyline that ends very ambiguously. And so I don't want to say anything about The Plover. But I am looking forward to reading it. We'll see when that happens. And then I have a book that I won from a Goodreads giveaway, and that is The Blue is Where God Lives by Sharon Sochil Washington. This is one of those that sounded really like I don't even remember entering myself for the giveaway. I no longer do Goodread giveaways for this reason. I don't even remember entering for it, and I got it, and I looked at the reviews, and no, thank you. I'm not going to put my time towards this. So that got unhauled. And then I have a digital book. It's called 9 Moons by Gabriella Weiner. So this came to me through the My TBR service. It was one of my recommendations for that month. And I haven't gotten to it yet, but it is still on my Kobo and I still expect to get to it. So I'm only carrying 2 books over to next year for March of 2023. So I won't mention the books that I unhauled again. I'm not going to keep, every year go through all the books. Once I mention them, I'm going to kind of like take them off my list or hide them on my list. And So, I'm sorry. Brain freeze there. So next year when I do this, so next March when I do this, or whenever I do the 2023 and 2024, and there will be, because I have some pre-orders, so I do know there will be some books for 2024. You will just hear about the two, the Plover and the 9 Moons will be the only ones I'm talking about. But yeah, so March was actually a very controlled month for me. It's kind of like the first week you're on a diet. I can tell you right now, April is much bigger. Yeah. So, but we will get to that when we get to that. So the next one I will do its own video for. But anyway, thank you very much. Let's see, today is Thursday. I have a 5 on Friday coming up tomorrow. Saturday, I'll do my check-in, and we're in March, so you'll have my March reading wrap up soon. Anyway, thank you very much. Like, subscribe, join my Discord if you are so inclined. It's a fun place a little easier to talk to each other. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.